So Bitcoin is very obviously still the cryptocurrency market leader right now. We haven't flipped into Ethereum season. We haven't flipped into alt season. And Bitcoin is currently sitting in a market cap of $2.1 trillion roughly and at a price of $105,000. Now, I've personally been using Bitcoin to earn income, right? So not only am I benefiting from the asset appreciation within Bitcoin, I'm also benefiting from generating income in the short term. This opens up a whole array of possibilities. Number one, I can stack the amount of Bitcoin I have and compound it essentially. Number two, I can use this as a profit-taking strategy. So I could sell these Bitcoins that I'm generating into stablecoins, and then of course put those stablecoins into my bank account. That way, instead of just selling all my Bitcoin at a premature price, I'm taking profits because I'm not sure what the actual price is going to peak at, right, in the meantime. And then I'll go and I'll sell my underlying stash at a different price. Or I could do a mixture of both. And today I want to show you a couple options for actually doing that. One of them using Aave, one of them using liquidity pools, and a few others. Now, before we dive into that, I want to mention I'm hosting a free workshop this Thursday where I dive into asset accumulation strategies, how you can stack more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, and you can finish off the next 3 to 6 months strong in this bull run. If you guys want to RSVP for that, the link is going to be right below this video. We only have 250 RSVP slots available, and I believe we're about half full. Anyways, this first one, you can see over on Aave, I have about 40 grand of Bitcoin. And here's the thing, I did not buy 40 grand worth of Bitcoin. I did not even buy 0.38 BTC. What I essentially did is I leveraged up. I put up about 20 grand of Bitcoin at the time, and then I borrowed about $13,000. Now, that seems like a lot of money to borrow against 20 grand, but remember, I'm also putting up these other assets as well. So I'm using these other assets that I'm holding like Ethereum, wrap staked Ethereum, Link, Aave as collateral as well. But I took that 13 grand, I threw it into wrap BTC, and I essentially leveraged up. So essentially at the entry, I had about $33,000 of exposure to wrap Bitcoin, yet I only had to put up $20,000. This is just simple leverage. So as prices go up, well, guess what? I capture all the profit from the upside and I capture all the losses from the downside. I just have to pay back the initial $13,000, and that accumulates very, very little interest at roughly 5% a year. Another thing that you can do, if you don't want to sell your Bitcoin, you're worried about impermanent loss / divergence loss, you can borrow stablecoins against your wrap Bitcoin or CBBTC, and you can go and inject those stablecoins into liquidity pools or delta neutral strategies. That could do about a 50% per year return. Here's an example of what that might look like. I have this Fartcoin to Sol position over here. It's down $1,500. It's doing a 95% APR. Well, guess what? I also have Fartcoin to Sol being shorted over here, which I'm actually up an equivalent amount on, roughly 1486 or so. So my point is, if we put our Bitcoin up as collateral over on a platform like Aave, we borrow stablecoins, we can then go and take those stablecoins, inject them into these delta hedge liquidity pools that are doing 100% per year or so, and we're earning good returns there, right? But we're hedging out our market exposure. We're separating the yield from the volatility and just capturing the yield, basically. And that's a relatively safe strategy. You can even do it safer than that. You can target just stablecoins, but those are going to do 20 to 30% per year, and it's significantly lower. Still great, don't get me wrong, but not nearly as high as 100% per year. Another strategy, we can dive over here into wrap Bitcoin to USDC. Now, here's the thing about these pools. They don't pay good returns, right? If we pull up BTC over here on Uniswap on the Ethereum network, which is the largest network, you have stuff like wrap Bitcoin to USDC, it's doing 9%. We have wrap Bitcoin to USDT doing another 9%. And really the highest that we have on this list is 22% a year. Now, if we go over to CBBTC USDC over on Aerodrome, they have a pretty solid pool over here. Let's just say we were to park 100 grand into this liquidity pool. It's doing roughly $78 per day, which is paid out in both CBBTC as well as USDC. So we could just convert the USDC portion into CBBTC. Now, with that being said, we haven't even adjusted our range yet. I would personally be going in with a relatively tighter range, something along the lines of $92,000 all the way up to $140,000. Now, that's going to do about $95 per day, so a little bit more. Our range actually affects the return that we get. The tighter the range that we go, the more money we're going to be able to make, but we're also going to have more divergence loss. Now, one thing I will say about CBBTC to USDC is you don't want to use it unless you are willing to sell your Bitcoin. And the reason why is because as the price of Bitcoin goes up, you're going to have less Bitcoin. So if it goes to, say, $115,000, you'll see, well, we started with 0.6323 and now we have 0.4290. So we sold some of our Bitcoin. The reason why is because, well, that's exactly how liquidity pools work. We are selling a buyer our assets and they are giving us the other asset. They are buying our CBBTC, hence why it's going up, and they are giving us USDC. We also don't have full market exposure here. We have to put up a portion in USDC. So this is great for actually exiting the market. And this is one of the strategies that we will use when we believe Bitcoin is nearing an all-time high. We will hop in stuff like CBBTC to USDC, start to earn fees instead of paying them as we ladder out of our positions. Now, another solid position in my opinion, something that I would personally be running right now, is Ethereum to wrap Bitcoin. Now, the thing about this one is obviously as one outperforms the other, we will lose exposure to it. So for example, if Bitcoin's doing really well, it's going up 10, 15% or so, but Ethereum's going up 5% maybe or so at the same time, we are going to lose some exposure to Bitcoin and we're going to gain some exposure to Ethereum. Because remember, people are buying that Bitcoin basically and they're giving us Ethereum in return. Nonetheless, though, this will still be in range for longer and it will have better results than something like CBBTC to USDC because, well, guess what? You have full market exposure. So if they're going up in an equivalent manner or a somewhat equivalent manner and they're somewhat correlated, it will do better than something like CBBTC to USDC. And this is great for laddering from Bitcoin to Ethereum when you're preparing for Ethereum to start to become the market leader, basically. This is currently doing about a 63% APR. So on 100 grand, you're making about $175 per day, which is pretty solid. And this is the strategy that I'm personally using in my portfolio. And I also have strategies just like this that don't have Bitcoin in it. Stuff like Soul Render, stuff like Ethereum to Aether, stuff like Ethereum to AIOZ, Ethereum to Edge. I have all those types of positions in my portfolio. I'm diversified. I have the upside, but I'm also generating yield, which I can use that yield and flywheel it into my portfolio so it grows at a faster pace. And what I like to say is it's like dollar cost averaging it into your portfolio and injecting capital consistently without actually having to inject capital from your bank account or anything like that. It's just your portfolio doing the work for you. It's a flywheel, guys. And then if you do combine that with normal dollar cost averages and stuff like that, or big buys whenever you see dips in the market, that's going to bolster your overall portfolio's performance. Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, drop a like, subscribe, notifications turned on, and I will see you guys Thursday at that asset accumulation workshop. Peace out.